Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to The Truth, where today we are starting the official first offseason video, or technically the first offseason video since the Super Bowl was yesterday. Shout out to the Chiefs. I'll be dropping my opinions on those games and their season whenever I cover them, and same as 49ers and same as every other team. Just hopping into it, Arizona, I'm going straight into this. This is like the third time I'm making this video. Arizona is a team who needs a lot. And I'm gonna break it into segments basically on the video and throughout, and I'm gonna kind of explain how I'm gonna do the off season with each segment I get into. So the first segment is gonna be the first segment it's gonna be their sport. It's gonna be their cap. What's the cap looking like? Arizona going into this offseason right now has $44.5 million, about $44.5 million. That's how much cap they're going to have. Now, with that being said, they can resign a lot of guys, or they can go in free agency and get some guys and build through the draft. It's up to them. There is no really right or wrong. It's just how you want to build your team. So that's going to be the first segment. The first segment, I'm going to be talking about the cap, how that's looking right now. The second segment, I'm going to be talking about what they signed. Right now Arizona hasn't signed anybody, of course. I'm going to talk about what they signed, what they've done. The next segment, I'd be talking about the rumors. Hey, what is Arizona looking like? Do they have anybody? Arizona, there are no rumors, but there is something I want to talk about later. Since there are no rumors, then I'll be talking about, for each team, I'll be talking about the mock drafts. And here's the mock draft. And this is the way I've set it up. For the mock drafts, each mock draft, the first 32 mock drafts are going to be generated. And then after that, I'm going to create my own mock drafts. Just because I want teams to actually start getting rolling, teams to actually start acquiring players, moving players off boards, because that's when free agency and mock drafts really start. But, like I said before, Arizona is a team who needs a lot. I wasn't able to address every position. They don't have enough picks to do that. And you can see they have a lot of picks. They have a lot of depth and stuff that they need, and starters. But I thought I didn't do too bad of a job. So just getting into it, here is Arizona's offseason. Here's what their mock draft is going to look like so far. I know it kind of seems like splattered everywhere. Don't worry. As make more and more videos, it's going to make more sense. It's going to seem more smooth. It's just kind of the explanation video is a lot to take in at once, a lot to dish out at once. So the way I look at the board is I look at it as, okay, what are the top players? What are the top players at every position? What are the needs of the team, and then who's available? So let's say, for instance, the Arizona needs a quarterback, and the first three quarterbacks are off the board. Well, I'm not going to go quarterback with the fourth pick with the fourth best quarterback with the fourth pick. No, I'm going to go to a position that they need, another position that they need, and then I'm also going to look at, okay, which best position is still available, which highest ranked player, I guess. So like if the first receiver was available and the rest were just 2 and 3s, I'm going to take the best receiver in the draft and fill that need with the highest pick I have. So if that makes any sense. So for instance, this case, the Cardinals need a receiver, and let's just say every other position had 2 and 3s. Well, with the first overall pick, I'm going to pick a receiver and then go so on and so forth. If there was 2 and the rest were 3s, I'm going to take that position that has 2 that they need. I'm not going to pick a position that they don't need. That's not a roster need. Not right now. Now, you can always build for the future. I'm not saying that. But it's just right now, I'm more on what does this team need to do now at this very moment. So that's how I look at it. And then with the draft, of course, not only do you draft now, but you draft for these players to be in your future. That's my thought process about it. But yeah, getting set up, the first overall pick that for the Arizona Cardinals in the first round, I selected Marvin Harrison Jr. Look, this is a team who needs weapons. They need to help Kyler Murray. They need more receivers. They need a starting receiver and depth. So this is a team that was like, man, it's a no-brainer. First 3 quarterbacks went off. Wasn't going to pick quarterback for Arizona. I'm going to take a receiver. I'm going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. explosive. My personal opinion about Marvin Harrison Jr. is the fact that he really got let down by poor quarterback play at Ohio State. I think if he had any of the top 5 quarterbacks from this draft, I think he would have done insane. I think it would have been crazy how good he would have been. But he didn't. With that being said, yeah, no, I have him with Arizona. And also, let me know what y'all think about these picks. Tell me, like, what do y'all think? Do you agree, like, hey, I don't like this player, or I don't like this position? Let me know. Or is this position too high, or whatever? Let me know. With the second pick for Arizona, I picked Chop Robinson, edge. He was the best edge available on the board. Defensive end, which they need. Just kind of thought process of let me see what kind is available. Okay, well, edge is the best. Edge is the Chop Robinson was the best player there with the position of needs that they have. So I picked Chop. I think it's a great pick. I think it's kind of a steal to get Chop. I think he's someone who they can build, who they can help out. Kind of getting into it. He's 6'3", 220. He doesn't have, crazy strength or mass, but he's kind of a guy who has good athleticism. He's going to be someone who you can work off of. He's a pass rusher. And I say this because I will talk about this later. But no, he's a pass rusher, and he's a guy who can mold to actually help stop the run as well. He's a guy who's moldable. You just have to work with him. But no, I like Chop Robinson. Getting into the next pick, we have Graham Burton. Look, Arizona needs a guard. I think he fits the hole well. He's 6'6", 315, big guy. Now you're seeing these bigger guys are slowly starting to make their way into the NFL. They're actually like bigger, more athletic guys. He's super athletic, super physical, super strong. He's a guy that I think will be great for Arizona. I think he'll be great on that offensive line, not only protecting Kyler Murray, but also helping out in that run game too. I think he's going to be a great guard. With the fourth pick for Arizona, I picked Leonard Taylor. Thought this was an easy steal. Easy steal. Look, dude's a monster. He's gonna push people back. He's gonna stop the run. And look, he can rush the passer as well. He's a guy who gives a lot of effort. He's 6'4", 305. He's a guy who's gonna get in the backfield. He's gonna disrupt everything. And I preached this so many times. One of the most important things are interior pressure in the NFL. That is so important and impactful. Look, that's Leonard Taylor. That's what you're gonna get from him. With the next pick, I have Brad. They need a safety with the losses of this free agency. I think Brad's great. One thing I like about Brad is I don't know if I'm saying that. He is 6 foot. He's only 200 pounds, but right now he's only 200 pounds. We still haven't gotten to the season and everything and that and the combine. But Brad, how we say it, he's really versatile. You can put him up high and you can put him in the box. So he can be that guy where you place him around. Kind of reminds me of with his versatility, reminds me of a more prime Tyrann Mathieu, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying he is Tyrann Mathieu. I'm saying it's more of that kind of style and that kind of versatility. He's tall though. He's a taller guy though. With the next pick, I decided to help out in the linebacking core, which they really need. They are losing 2 starters. I got Tommy from Ohio State. One thing I like about Ohio State is they build pretty good linebackers. They produce pretty good linebackers. 6'2", 235 pounds. Look, he's going to help in the pass. He's going to help in the pass by able to be able to cover the pass. Like, he's really good at that. He can really get through run gaps. He's good at pursuing. He plays with a good motor. He's a guy who's going to produce. He's going to get tackles. He's going to be your more all around linebacker. He's not going to be really rushing the passer too much. I mean, you don't expect him to. That's not the role you really want him to. He's more of a drop back passer. Tanner, not going to say his name, from Wisconsin. At this point, they really needed a center. I haven't drafted him a center. I'm not saying this is how I think. This is the draft I'd go. This is just how the board felt. They need a starting center. Look, 6'4", 306. Tanner out of Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a good program. I think he can hold down the fort. With acquisitions, if they don't draft center, I'll probably draft center higher the more and more the offseason goes on. But yeah, it was something like, hey, we gotta get one out. And it's kind of a guy I'm comfortable with getting. Aaron Casey out of Indiana, a guy I want to pick up, another linebacker to fill that other linebacking need. He's actually doesn't have their height and weight. All right, another good quality size linebacker. At least I think so. He's not like crazy small or anything. At least I don't think he is. I don't think Aaron Casey is crazy small. Linebacker of Indiana, another guy who's just to fill that hole, fill that need. I like what he does. I like what he can do. Getting into now the more depth after we've addressed the starters. Jeremiah Thrash. Thrash is a really good safety when it comes to getting his when it comes to route running. He's not a guy who's gonna crazy speed or be over the top. 6'1", 180, kind of smaller size. Think more like Devontae Smith, but without the speed. Not really a crazy tall guy, not really a big guy, but good route runner. I think what he adds to it is you could potentially have a receiving core where you have a guy who can take the top of the defense, a guy who can move around and kind of be shifty and kind of make cuts and stuff. And he has that ability to separate. He's really good at dropping his hips and blind spot awareness. One of the things he's really good at is his football IQ. What he showed was his football IQ. His leans, his head fakes, stuff like that. That really, the smaller details he's good at. Aaron Smith, the one thing I like about Aaron Smith is a smaller receiver. He's 5'9", 197. The one thing I like about Aaron Smith is he's going to be a receiver who's going to come in and be able to block. I mean, look, he was able to block as a receiver and a running back for Texas A&M. I think that's pretty impactful. That's something you really don't have as a guy who can just block in general. So having someone who knows how to be that versatile player is really impactful, especially for later in the draft when you're trying to find roster spots. This is a guy who you can place at multiple positions. He's a guy who probably will make special teams, and he's a great blocker. And he wants to run block. This is a guy who I would draft later in the rounds to kind of be that versatility, be that run blocker, be that player that teams need that aren't really shined. And then with the next pick and the last pick, I chose Gabe Hall out of Baylor. 6'5", 295. Can play in the 4-3, can play in the 3-4. Guy's going to be able to stop the run. Not a very athletic guy, not like shockingly athletic, but he's going to stop the run. He's going to be a guy who gives a lot of energy, a lot of hustle. He can be that guy who can maybe, your starters, or you want to rotate in for those first couple downs at the start of a drive, and you're trying to give your guys a little bit of rest before you put them back in. That's what Gabe Haley. That's what Gabe Hall can bring. Gabe Hall is that guy who can eat up space, kind of put them in a position to where they say, well, okay, we can't really run the ball really well against this defense, the D line right now. We're gonna have to force the pass, and then you kind of swap Gabe Taylor out for a guy who can go up, make a difference. I drafted defensive tackles for Arizona who make big impacts, who's gonna really stop that run, and then really be able to put them in position. Because look, Arizona has a chance to build not too bad of a secondary. They have, of course there are some holes, but they have an opportunity with how I've drafted to stop the run and then also play complementary coverage. That's kind of what I was going for with Arizona. Let me know what y'all think. I thought that was interesting the way the draft turned out. The only things I didn't pick up was a depth for guard, another tackle, and another defensive tackle for depth. There just weren't enough picks. Getting into some interesting things though. This isn't a rumor. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but what do y'all think about Harrison Reddick for Arizona fans? Teams who are I'll get into that thought in a minute. For Arizona fans, what do y'all think? Do y'all like Harrison Reddick going back to Carolina? He's looking for a trade, so you would have to give up a pick or two, but it'd be an instant upgrade at defensive end. But with that being said, here's how I would watch these videos or listen to these videos, however you want to consume this media. I'd watch these videos. I tune into videos like these to one, if it's your favorite team, to two, if it's a rival team, because you want to know what they're doing as well. You want to keep an eye on that. And three, if you're going to play this team down the road. This is how I would consume it. So if I were you, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you you can't watch the rest of my videos. If you really want to watch the rest of my videos, go for it. But I'm just saying, hey, for these videos, like if you fit if your team or your team fits one of these three categories, I'd really watch this video. I tune in to these videos to kind of get an idea of, okay, what's going on right now, because I'll provide that information. And then also, hey, what are they looking like? Is this a team who's making a big improvement or not? The last thing I wanted to get into was how their season went. So I don't know if you know, but Arizona picked up a new head coach. This was his first year, and Arizona took a big step back. They might have had the same record, but their point differential is way more vast. Arizona, not this season, but the previous season, went 4-13 with a point differential of -109. That is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. You can't do that. So, I mean, I understand why you fire your head coach. But the one thing that they did worse was, I know Kyler Murray was injured, but you still have to build a good enough team to where you can at least be a tad bit better. You put your team in a position to be a tad bit better if someone goes down. This season, they also went 4-13, but they had a point differential of a -156. They took a major step back. That's not good. If Jonathan, I think it's Jonathan Gannon, if he wants to keep his job, one, you got to make changes on the coaching staff. You got to make changes on the coaching staff. I've talked about this before. You got to make changes on the coaching staff, in the organization, or in the scouting department. Those are one of the three things you have to do. So the organization would be like GMs, assistant GMs, stuff like that. Scouting department, of course, the scouting department, or the staff, the coaching staff, whether it be positional coaches, coordinators, defensive coordinators, anything like that. You have to make a change. But with that being said, something has to give, because you can't keep doing it like this. Because at the end of the day, owners are going to start getting, because if you're not improving, owners are going to have to start selling the team to another owner who actually wants to improve this team, because they're not making money, because nobody wants to go to them. Nobody wants to go to their games or anything. But I mean, hey, that is what it is. Let me know what your thoughts on this video. Let me know. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to y'all next time.